Carolyn Dube here, and today I'm playing with Christmas ornaments. I have got a bunch of brightly colored Christmas ornaments. Yep, my kind of colors. But they're more than what I need for decorating the house, so they're leftovers, they're extras, and I'm tired of just putting away things at the end of Christmas that we're not using. So I've decided this season I'm either going to use it or lose it, which really means donate it. So I'm going to play around with these and turn these into more of an art journal fun kind of ornament with just a few simple touches. So I had to get a little creative with how I'm going to hold these ornaments or display them, so you can see me working on a couple at a time with the texture spray from the Irresistibles and the Pico embellisher. So they're hanging from a string and they've got a little bit of swing to them. What I'm doing is starting off with the Pico embellisher, and it writes just like a pen. The paint that's in it, ink paint, whatever it is very dimensional, very thick. So it holds its shape. So I'm just kind of writing all over the ornament. I've done this to the blue one, and I'll keep doing this to them until I've got kind of this nice graffiti feel. I'm adding each color to each ornament. So I've got 3 colors that are going to go on each ornament to allow me to write and scribble around in different places. This is really handy to have it suspended. That way, as I'm writing on the underside, or it doesn't roll around and do things. One thing to watch out for if you're doing this at home is don't hang the strings too close together, because my blue and purple ornament, although they're at different heights, they're pretty close, and it just kind of adds that extra element of sort of video game challenge and fun to make sure that they don't actually bump into each other and smear what's written on each one. So here they are, completely dry, and it really doesn't take long for that to happen. You can see I've got the writing all over them. Now, these were held vertically, and I did not have a dripping issue. Anywhere I had a lighter touch, there was definitely no drippage or moving. Anywhere that I would really super thick, where I squeezed really hard on the bottle, I got a little bit more of a drippy look. And I like that I've got that variation of the different kinds. Kind of goes with that graffiti feel. The next thing I'm going to work with is some texture spray from the Irresistible line. And I want to give you a little background here. I'm getting that finer mist spray when I push down quickly and firmly. And if I go down with a little bit slower or a little more hesitation, I get more blobs and splotches. So it can really do a couple of things for you. Like in the orange, I'm going to make it very blobby, very splotchy. So I can get 2 different looks from this textured spray. And the nice part is it stays really textured. But I want to protect myself from the big splotches and blobbies that I absolutely love when I'm working, say, in an art journal, for what I want to do with these onto the ornament. Well, I'm going to protect myself from getting my super big splotches by using a stencil. And you can use pretty much any detailed stencil that you want. I happen to be using Fridge Poetry here, and I'm actually going to spray on the reverse of it. I'm going to do on the backside, but it'll make sense when I'm done why I'm doing it that way. For the part on the ornaments, it doesn't matter what side you use it on, because I'm not going to actually see any of the stencil on this. What it's going to do is, because the spray is going to go through that stencil acting like a screen, it's going to keep it so that it stays light and misty and I don't end up with any heavy areas, because I know I tend to push down and create those heavy areas because that's the look I usually like. Well, what happens though is I get all this ink onto that stencil, and I absolutely don't want to waste a speck or a drop or just any of this ink, because it's wonderful, it's dimensional, it's creamy. So what I'm going to do is then take that stencil and flip it into my journal. Now, depending on some days, I can actually get the words to show up. But you can see here, yeah, not going to happen today because the camera's rolling. But I'm not going to waste any of that ink. I'm going to keep pushing it down. And you can see little hints to the words. I'm getting some of the letters. And this is why I work on the back side of the stencil instead of the front, for when I transfer the excess ink into my art journal. So now I'm going to bring those ornaments back, and I'm really going to go to town, hitting them with all sorts of ink. As I'm doing this, oh, you may wonder what's holding those ornaments from rolling around. A really fantastic invention called the shower curtain ring. That is a clear shower curtain ring that's under there, and that keeps them from rolling away. So now I'm just going to hit it with some spray ink. This isn't really a thinking time. I'm hitting it with a couple of different colors. I've got the neon pink and the neon orange. And I'm just going to rotate the ornaments a little bit to make sure I was getting all the different sides. And then it's time to use up that paint, that ink, that texture spray, whatever that stuff is, into my art journal. Now, one thing to keep in mind, though, is when you are done using the texture sprays, you do want to put the caps on them. That way they don't clog, because it is very paint-like that's in there. And here's what the finished ornaments look like. They've got texture on them, a little bit of spray. So now I've got a more interesting ornament than what I had. Before I just had these purchased boring ornaments, and now they're just a little more artsy, a little more fun, and I've had fun playing and making them. Well, if you've had fun watching, I'd love it if you subscribe to my YouTube channel. That way you can see more of my videos. And of course, I'd love it if you came on over to the blog, checked out the post that goes with this, and maybe even subscribe to my newsletter. That way we can stay in touch. Thanks for being a part of this colorful journey.